Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I already posted in the chat. Dee didn't want to start the show on time. She is the reason why we are late. You know, she was giving me a hard time, so I'm just giving y'all a heads up. Dee is Dee today. She's gonna be mean today. It's mean Dee day. So I'm just giving you a fair warning. So watch out in the chat. You know, mean Dee day. Okay. Okay. I already typed it up. Just letting you know. Be on the lookout. Watch out, world. All right. Y'all have fun this week. What y'all doing for the fourth? Tech girl Christian. Boy, I tell you, if only you knew what go on behind the scenes, how much pain I have to endure. Whew. You see that, and yet the show has started. It took a lot. Took a lot for the show to get started. What's going on, Stacy Land? How you doing? I know the drama. Boy, you think. Poor me, that's right. All she gotta do is be uh she could pick one. A top notch designing woman, like designing women to show, or Golden Girls. And if she is designing women, she's probably like the one that's from the south with the southern reed. That's her. What's going on, Donald? Hey Chris. Eating is the plan. Yeah, you know what? I ain't been to a good barbecue in years for the fourth. I haven't been to a good barbecue in years. Fellowshipping with the folks, playing spades. And I'm not gonna say nothing about spades because I don't play spades for fun. We take this serious over here. D does not take spades serious. She's like, this is just a fun game. Just something to do. It's having fun. No D. It is episode 70. What's going on, Toya? Let some of y'all filter in. Did y'all enjoy your week? How was your week? How was last Saturday? I forget what we discussed last Saturday. I think we discussed a lot. We didn't even do the next show last Saturday. I feel like when we don't do the next show, I feel like I'm cheating. CTO. Yeah, space. Is that a card game? No, it's not. This is how we test your your ability to sit at this table. That should you stay at this barbecue? Because did you just renege? Did you just renege? Were you not paying attention? Dominoes, serious business. Now D plays dominoes. I think she said that's serious, but spades, she was like, it's just a card game. I'm like, no, it's not. Do you know? This is true story. I used to play spades in college, and I used to play tunk in college, and I would literally skip classes playing tunk in college. Why? Because I that's how that was my other way to make money. I had at one point I had got this guy. He kept losing. He kept trying to battle me, and I was like, "No, that ain't it." And so I had got him down because he used to drop on me. Right, lowest hand he would drop, but if you get caught dropping, you pay double. So we would play hands. We would play hands $10, $20, but we had got up to $1,500 a hand, and we had them play at least for the last 4 hours. Everybody was like, "Just get up, just get up, just get up, just get up, walk away." I was like, me being the woman, I was like, I know this man got kids, and I know his wife, and I know that ain't gonna fly too well with them and so forth. And I was like, we'll play. And so we kept playing, we kept playing. So it was $1,500 a hand, and we had already said that we'll do a payment plan. 3 payments of 500. I was like, you already owe me 15. I like you can stop. So he went to drop his cards again. I was like, don't do that. I said, I'm telling you, you're not lower than me. He was like, no, I gotta get my money back. He dropped. I called him because I was lower than him, and it's $1,500 a hand. You know what that means. he was like, man, he was like, I was like, tuition's coming up for me. You know, I appreciate your donations. I appreciate this time that we had. And so I played one more hand. We had $3,000 right now. I played one more hand, and I purposely didn't get as low as I could. And he won. And he's like, I knew. I was like, I really let you win. I was like, I didn't want to see you in the $3,000, uh, and you dodging me for the 3,000. So at the end of it, he gave me $500, and we walked away. And I saw his girlfriend, wife, the next day, and she came over to me and she gave me a big hug, and she was crying, and she was like, that would have took everything we had. That would have took the money from the kids. That would have took money from. She was like, I thank you so much, and I was like, I'm not here trying to destroy relationships. I might be showing my age, CTO advisor, but I got a good heart of me. But the other part of me was like, crush, destroy everything, take it all, take it all. See, the men that was around me was like, just get up and walk away. T, just walk away. Take him for everything. Screw that. He owe you. It's $3,000. He owe you. Walk away. Walk away. And we was already. I was like, if I would have got lower, because he was getting ready to get caught, because he had done dropped so many times. He's just catching them left and right. The cards was in my favor. That 3,000 would have been $6,000. I wouldn't have seen that brother back then. In the night, he would have avoided me. He would have ran off. he would he would have ran off. He would have ran off. Don't know why it's talking about break them. I hear you. I hear you. All right, so I pushed the show out for an extra hour because this is gonna be a long show. I'm gonna give y'all the disclaimer now. It's gonna be some hurt feelings. It's gonna be some people that don't like me, and it's gonna be some people that don't like what I'm saying. But I feel now. Let me change that word. It's not what I feel. Is I want to show what your possibilities are, right? And I want to show what you yourself can do. All right. So I'm gonna recap last week because I'm looking at it now. We talked about the different buckets, the three bucket strategy, and we've been going over this three bucket strategy for a while. Tax free, tax deferred, and after taxes. Um, I have not done a show completely on funds, but it's coming. I gotta do some reading for my own self on certain things. Um, we talked about the HIV status, right? 1 in 22 for black men will have HIV. 1 in 54 for black women. If we were all in a room, it'll be a potential of those folks having HIV. 1 in 22 for black men and 1 in 54 for black women. Um, and it says now the new stats is when I looked at it is every month is 15,300. new cases, and 60% of those cases I think would be black women, which leads me to ask the question, why it wouldn't be who else is leading that way? Like, you can't um, be in the lead by yourself. Is all I'm saying. Um, that's what I'm saying. We also covered where women who are making six figures. What cities are those? Like, so if you're worried about your ends, brothers, men, um, or whatever, or partners, whatever. If you're looking for where women are making their money, then go. They said, how is that different from any other show? Hey man, it's not. It's not. But I just want to make people aware. Just a disclaimer. I gotta give disclaimers. What's going on, Kareem? How you doing? All right. We also went over the portfolio. Well, not the portfolio, but the financial gap, or the finances, where it showed black men and black women both make the same amount of money, right? 42,000, right? And we talked about some wealth differences, and also a study saying that 41% of black Americans are not saving for retirement, and then they don't even have a retirement plan. So over here, let's also talk about, we've been talking about wealth accumulation, and wealth preservation at the same token, right? Wealth accumulation more like what's going on, Charlotte? What money are you putting money up and putting money aside, right? Are you using your skills? And this goes back, it's still tech stocks and jobs, but this goes back to taking your tech skills, earning your money. I mean, taking your money that you earn from your tech skills, and investing, and not just in your 401k. We also talk about backdoor IRAs, as well as real estate, and different things. So I don't know, for those who are new, we had came up, and I need that we keep adding to this, which I like. We keep adding to our $600, our 6K, $600, well, how's the word I want to say? I guess a job, right? So there was a job that we saw out there for a cybersecurity role, and in that job, we talked about, hey, if you got a sign-on bonus of 100,000, and you lived in a state that was state income tax free, what would you be doing with that money, right? After taxes is $70,000, and what would you do after that, right? And we talked about how much money you would be pulling in every month, and so forth. And where would you, and if you had to leave before that year was up, what would be a good investment for you to be in if you had to leave before that year was up? Because sometimes you may get on a job, you may not like the people. You may get on a job and you don't like what you're doing. Um, do you stick it out? Do you rough it and stick it out? And what are you going to do with that 70K that's going to turn that? Well, you could turn that 70K into income producing assets, or assets that are accumulating, or growing over time, right? So some of the things we came up with was, you could buy a watch, you can turn around and you could buy a boat, do boat parties, boat rentals, laundromats, vending machines, ATMs. You can do stocks, where you can get into option plays. You can invest in the energy stocks. We even brought up mining with crypto, or staking. Um, Places like Fundrise, Ground Door, Rootstock, Atrich, and I think Arrived Homes just got bought by Jeff Bezos and Amazon and the crew. Buying a business, becoming an accredited investor, uh, precious metals. Maybe you go on and get overemployed, and get another sign-on bonus from somewhere, and throw that into the pot, and then let that do its thing. We also even talked about real estate, where you become your own bank, and you can buy a couple of houses. Of course, those houses we need to have some equity, so you can do the BRRRR strategy, and that's from bigger pockets, where you buy, rehab, refinance, repeat. is the birth strategy. B triple R is the birth strategy. There are other strategies that you could do, but those are some of the things that we've been talking about and that we've come up with. And we've also been talking about estate planning and crummy trust and so forth and so on. So I'm going to get into this, our opening, and then I have a video that I'm going to share first thing first, and then we're going to talk about some things today. We're gonna really talk about some things. And again, like I said before, this may hurt some people' feelings. I hear a lot of complaints about things, but we're gonna break down some stuff today that you can do for your family. You can do for yourself as a single person. You can do for yourself as a married person. We're gonna bring up some things that I know that people are just not gonna be favorable for, but we don't talk about things over here. There are problems without solutions. So we're gonna talk about problems and we're gonna talk about solutions, right? JM, you said I don't think I could live at an apartment again after living in the house for a couple of years. I think relocating for a job is a big decision. But relocating for any job is a big decision. It's a minimum of $10,000 and 2 years of adjustment. That's really what it boils down to, right? All right, so let's get busy. If you're new to the channel, I'm Tam. D's in the back, and we are Women in Linux. You can find us on social media, everywhere on social media at Women in Linux. You can hit us up on womeninlinux.org. If you like the content that you hear, you like what you're listening to, become a member. You can become a member here on YouTube. We got some plans in the works. I even thought about this last night. I was like, I think I want to do a in-person meetup, right? I think I want to do an in-person meetup this year, and I'm thinking about maybe like, in the summer, let's do something maybe August. Is what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking August, right? An in-person meetup where we meet. And I was thinking about maybe we do the show live, right? We do the show live well, we actually got you all in the audience in the whole nine. When we doing this thing. What's going on, Shamika? Good morning. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about doing a in person show live where we do where we actually get to sit one, get to meet you, two, you get to eat, three, you get to fellowship, four, you get to network. I don't never want you to take a trip and it's not about business. This will be a business trip, so you can have it as a tax write off, just a FYI. All right. So that's why I'm thinking about it. Right. I'm thinking about it. I was thinking about it hard yesterday. Like, what does that look like? What does that look like? What does that look like? Because I want people to come and be able to not just meet people, but I want you to be able to, yeah, have a live studio audience, but I also want you to be able to see who's in your network, right? Who's in your network? Oftentimes we get in these places and you don't get a chance to really network with people, right? Where you can say, well, I live here and this is what I'm doing, and here's how I did stuff. There's a lot of hidden I don't want to say jewels, but a lot of people who are in the group that are doing very well that you have not met. You see them, you see the names. I looked at our Slack this morning. We're on our way to 5,000 people in our Slack. 5,000 people from when we started, right? 5,000 people. Just imagine we're on our way to 5,000 people in our Slack. That's a good amount of people that you can network with. I think when I can tell you, I think Blacks in Technology. I think they're almost at 10,000. You may already be there. I can't hold on. Let me tell you. I tell you in 1 second. Let me look. In general, I think everybody probably bumps out. You got 8,200. We're not too far behind, right? We're not too far behind. But if you want to connect with us outside of, those are my random thoughts. If you want to connect with us outside of um our YouTube channel, if you hit connect here, drop you down to our Slack group, you put in your email address, it'll drop you over to our Slack group. in our Slack group is where we hang out, where I post jobs, so forth and so on. I was just talking to a recruiter yesterday. I do have jobs that I want to show. This particular job actually has a 20% match on a job. And we were talking about recession proof skill sets. And this is what I think DevSecOps Linux is, gives you recession proof, right? If you want to donate with us, I know some people are still shopping. We appreciate you shopping. We appreciate your donations. We appreciate you sharing our content. We appreciate you being here. This is our 70th episode, right? Episode 70, right? Uh, D was like, we've been here every Saturday. I'm like, nah, we don't miss some Saturdays. We have missed some Saturdays. But we are here nevertheless and trying to share information. So donating with your time by sharing content, by commenting on the content is very much appreciated. Gives us feedback to let us know that if we're doing something right or if we're not doing something right, or we said you said you was gonna cover this, hold us accountable to that as well too. But hey, donate with your sharing, but also donate with your time by being here, and also donate by giving, right? We come here every week. I do research. I go out and look up stuff. I have ideas. My ideas start today. Right, I'll get off of here when we get done, and I'll go start the next of what I see and things I pick up throughout the week that I think are or problems, and then I want to provide solutions to them. Shout out to Intentional Millionaire. We were supposed to get together yesterday, but I worked all week. I've been pulling all nighters all week long, so I was tired yesterday. But again, I'm running on being up all week, so I'm just up now. Now I'm just walking around, I guess, like a zombie. Now I'm just up. Like when I go to lay down, I'm like, time to get up. Right? It's I'm just up. If you click here to donate, you can see the different parameters and so forth and so on in which you can donate. Right. So that's that. Let's see who else is in chat. Tony B, what's going on? Stacy G, Sasha. Congratulations, Sasha. Sasha actually has been on her estate planning and wealth accumulation plan. She's actually bought some books. We've been sharing ideas on things, what to look at. She's reached out to a lawyer. Shout out execution, execution, down to earth. Thank you so much for your $20 super chat. Thank you for all the information you share, and congratulations. I appreciate you. Also, check out Textual Chatter. I was on his show. I was looking at it, I was laughing at myself because my eyes was heavy. And D was like, looked like I was on a good one. I was like, I was not on a good one. I would not be on a show like that. I would not be out here representing in that way for people to be like, oh, that's not who I am as a person, right? All right, so let's get started with the first one. I saw this morning, and when I saw it, I have a lot of questions, not in the sense of what should be done, but I'm trying to let me see if I can get the link to pop up for me here. Here we go. All right, here we go. I'm gonna bring it over, and I don't have my headphones in. I'm gonna turn my sound up so that you can hear it, and then we're gonna get going on that. Right? We're gonna get going. All right, so turn my sound up. Turn the sound up on the video as well. All right. So let's get busy. A little preface about this. Uh, I just drop in the comments your thoughts about this, and then we're gonna keep it. We're gonna talk about it for a hot second, and then we're gonna talk about solutions.
Of people unexpectedly forced out of their homes in South DeKalb. Nearly 200 people will have to find a new place to live. An apartment complex is terminating every tenant's lease with a 60-day notice. And this is all happening at the Forest at Columbia Apartments on Columbia Drive. That's near I-285 and I-20. Channel 2 investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln is live at the DeKalb County Courthouse tonight. And Ashley, you spoke with management who explained to you why they have to do this. Yeah, Wendy, we were out there at that apartment complex. We saw for ourselves that the property needs an extensive overhaul when you're talking about repairs. We found out initially that owner gave renters 30 days to move out, but management changed that to 60 days. Now, today, management telling us that if renters don't move out before that deadline, they'll have no choice but to take them to court, like this one behind me. It's wrong. You're just saying on the 31st of August, y'all got to be out. How can you put us out within 2 months? It's a notice of termination. Residents living at the Forest at Columbia Apartments in South DeKalb say they weren't prepared for. Everybody out here is not going to find somewhere to live in 2 months. Tuesday night, every single resident living at this complex, including families, was slapped with this notice. And you can't just put us out our homes. We have children. The owner announcing termination of all leases by the end of August. It just did not allow us enough time. Residents say they were blindsided by this move. Many who can't afford to move in such a short amount of time. I was pissed, and it just don't make sense. So what Channel 2 Action News? I spoke with the property manager who said the termination is due to an extensive construction overhaul needed for the property. Residents say for years they've been dealing with rodents, mold, and insects. The property manager says there is just no way to make necessary repairs with nearly 200 people currently living on site. It do need improvement a lot, from bottom to top, inside and out. But I don't feel like they should make us have to go. Many residents say instead of the company forcing them off of this property, they say instead they wish that the company will renovate vacant buildings like this one and move them in once the construction is complete. They have a lot of them and move us into those. Along with the needed renovation, management says there's also the issue of crime. Oh my God. Our cameras caught the sound of gunfire after a person opened fire at a nearby unit. This is an image of the bullet hole. Cash-strapped tenants say there has to be another safe option towards improvement without having to move out. We don't have places to go. We don't have money. Channel 2's Ashley Lincoln back out live with us. Ashley, two things here. First off, is this legal? And secondly, is this property manager giving residents the legal required amount of time to be able to terminate the lease? Yeah, we found out he is, Wendy. In situations, we found that it is illegal for landlords to collect rent on properties that are simply unsafe for people to live in. I found out that this company is actually based in Florida. They bought this property a couple of months ago. They did a walkthrough yesterday and they just deemed the entire property unsafe. He hopes it'll take about a year to get this entire renovation complete. Well, our thoughts go out with all those folks having to find a new place to live because it is tough in this market. Ashley, thank you.
All right. So why did I bring this up? I brought this up for a couple of reasons. The people who own this particular property live in Florida.
Kenneth David.
And so with those, with that, let's just be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on out here because I'm familiar with the area. Uh, let's be honest, okay? If they're in Florida and they own that property, they're probably gonna tear everything down. Okay, right? Um, and they're probably going to build. So what you and where this is at off of Columbia Drive, it's by the highway, so it's a quick way to get to the airport. So what that tells me is somebody need to go look at the economic development plan in that area, i.e., myself, and see what's coming because it's a reason why they're having those people. Uh, I don't want to say put out, but that's what it is. Uh, Put out, escorted out of off of their property. What's coming in that area? What are they looking at? It's close to the highway. They're not going to renovate that those apartments. They're probably gonna be tear downs, right? They're probably gonna build something new and put some people in there. Let's be honest. Now, for the tenants, being in this situation, it's a hard situation to be in. However, let's talk about this because I I'm from Decatur, so I already I mean I get it. I know for a fact that anything off of 20 East, right there, coming from Boulevard, Glenwood, let's see, Boulevard, Glenwood, Gresham, Candler Road, Columbia Drive. That 20 corridor right there is prime real estate to me. It's 15 minutes to get downtown, 20 minutes, hit or miss with some traffic or something like that. Scoot over, and you want to be in Marietta, you could. You want to be on the north side, you could. You want to be anywhere in the city, you're right there, right? It's prime real estate. I know there was a talk about South DeKalb Mall being bought and being torn down, and that was supposed to be condos as well too. I mean, the migration is happening. People are coming and they're buying up cities. They're buying up blocks. The question is, which side of the coin are you going to be on, right? When the lady said, "Hey, we have children. We can't get out. We can't make that move within that time frame." It actually brought up other questions I had, and this is why I do this show. This is why we do tech stocks and jobs. This is why we have women in Linux, because that should not even be a conversation. That should not be a conversation. That should not be a conversation about, hey, we got to get out because they want to do a renovation and they can't be here while we do it. Oh, and by the way, while I'm standing here as the news reporter, it's shots going off. like, like that's crazy. I don't even want to live like that where shots going off, right? When you come out of situations and stuff like that, the last thing on your mind is about, am I going to be safe when I walk in my apartment because the roof might collapse? Am I going to be safe when I go into my apartment? I got a duck because they outside shooting, or somebody got mad at the spades game for the barbecue, right? Like, that's not how we should be living, right? And that I got it out the mud thing, theme, trope, is something that we need to really stop saying, right? I got it out the mud, right? No, I got it out of my inheritance. I got it out of my estate. I got it out of my trust. I got it out of the inherited IRA or 401k, right? That should be our conversation, right? And I feel bad for them because it's a situation where rent is high. I don't know how people gonna, maneuver and get out of something like that. I was reading in the comments on that video where they said some people actually did another apartment complex like that, but they gave the people $1,200 to move out, and they also gave them references to go to another location, and actually recommended them for other locations and so forth. Right, right. But people don't have to do any of those things, right? They don't have to do any of those things. So you're at the mercy of what somebody else may have in store for you. So I say all that to say, this brought up why having your income and tech skills are important, right? Having your tech skills, like, oh, you need for me to leave this apartment. Like, if they came right now and said, hey, Tameika, we need for you to get out of this apartment. We actually sold it, this, that, and other. I'm fortunate enough, and I have created, and I was talking to Dee about this, a world around me where I'm fortunate enough where I don't have to wait to make a move. I can make a move because I can. Even even if it's on a credit card, or even if it's on a cash, or I borrow money from a 401k, or whatever the case may be, whatever that looks like, right? So what I'm saying to you, when you all come to this show and you're listening, I really am expecting you to execute, right? Don't be the person standing on the side, um, looking like, what are my options, right? No, right? I try to give you what you, with some of the solutions that you can have, but it's on you to execute that, right? Crystal, I saw you. How you doing? But we have to we have to have the mindset that, I don't want to say that we have to have the mindset that ain't nobody coming to save us, right? But I think we got a clear picture of ain't nobody coming to save us, right? Right? You got friends and family, but if you're waiting on government assistance or the government to step in to stop a process, like it ain't, it's just not, it's just not. Um, yeah, gentrification is happening all over. It's been happening in Decatur for quite some time, right? It's been going for quite some time. So again, I agree, Nisi, we have to be proactive and not reactive. And that's why I hope you get out of coming here. I hope you get out of being proactive, right? That's why we talk about the whole estate planning and so forth and so on. I sent D a video this morning, and this is gonna be controversial too. It's gonna hurt some men feelings. Um, and potentially some women feelings, whatever. But I don't wanna talk about the video. I just want to talk about the solution to the video. Because I hear this out in these streets a lot, about why we not getting married, why we shouldn't get married, why people are don't need to get married, why a man don't need to get married or a woman don't need to get married. And we came up with this last week, right? No estate, no date, and people laugh, right? But we are making shirts, we are working on shirts for that. No estate, no date, and it's serious because at this point now it's almost like, um you need to protect yourself, right? And I'm not talking about just men and women. I'm talking about men, women, and families. And what we're gonna go over today is that, about estate planning and protection and so forth. So I'm gonna bring this video over, and
I thought I'd like to take.
people gonna be like, well, this is her perspective, this, that, and other. It is her perspective, but I hear this stuff often. So let's get into this, and then we're gonna move into what are the options for both of these scenarios. The people that are getting kicked out of their apartments, what are the options that they have, right? What options do they have, right? What options could be created for them? Could Because when I'm looking at them, right, when I'm looking at people that are in that situation, I'm looking at those people could be working in tech from a customer service perspective. They could be working, at a healthcare company if someone is a nurse that has a heavy tech side. Like, I'm looking at solutions as to what potentials those things could be. Like, how do we get people skilled up, right? And how do we get people so they're not in those positions, right? And not everybody can be saved. I'm not saying that. But what I'm simply saying is, if I'm that child or that mother sitting in that situation, I'm gonna ask myself, what are my options? And the other thing I'm gonna ask is, how the hell did I get here? I don't care what nobody say. When you get to a point, there are certain things you ask yourself. You're like, how the hell did I get here? Right? I don't know what everyone has been through, but I know I have asked myself, in a moment, like, let's really be real. You cry, you moan, blah 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 blah, and then you get there and you were like, how did I get here? And then after you ask yourself, how did you get here? You like, okay, I recognize how I got here. Now let's recognize how I get out of this situation, right? And this is where community and so forth and so on come in. But you have to be willing to put forth a lot of effort in order to change those situations, right? Um, getting it out of the mud, like, we need to stop saying that. Honestly, I rather for people be like, I got it out of my inheritance, I got it out of my estate. Make that a t-shirt, D. I got it out of my estate. Right? I got it out of my trust. Like, like, that's where I'm at, right? When you're out here and y'all are making this money and you are building this wealth, wealth accumulation is so important. And also wealth preservation is important. And we're going to talk about all of that today, from this a lot of things that I have found, and we're going to read through some articles and the whole nine. But again, I want you all to get in the mindset of, like, because I was doing wealth planning yesterday. I was like, I'm really worth more dead than alive. So now the question becomes is, how do I make myself worth more than my death? Right. So how do I do that? Right. So we got to change some things, right? We got to change and bring in some assets. And let's talk about bringing in some assets. Let's talk about what is that uh what does that look like? Uh, I got it out of my estate, I got it out of my trust. um where you can come to the table, and actually you leave your money to nieces and nephews, or in a trust and so forth. That's what I want us to be focused on. I said this to Dee the other day, and I think I said this to my sister too. If I could change 10 lives, if I can make 10 families greater than what they were, right? And you all have estates, then I am excited, right? I'm more than excited. Like, being able to uh just guide that, right? And I'm not saying that this is not financial advice and nothing like that. These are just things I have found along the way, and I encourage you to go out and do your own research, hire your own estate planner, hire your own people, so you can get an understanding for what that means. What does it mean when I say a Q-tip trust? What does it mean when I say a Crumley trust? What does it mean when I talk about you can have an estate that skips a generation? What does that mean? What does it mean to have inherited 401k and inherited um, IRA, and the government's going to take 40%. But before they do, you should find tax shelters so that doesn't happen. Another thing that came up this week was um, what's his name from Wakanda? Gosh, I forget his name. Bozeman, is it Bozeman? Is that his last name? I forget his name, first name. However, they were talking about his wife split the 2.3 million between him and between him I mean between his family and her, Chadwick, yes. uh and but he had to give up 1.5 million to the government because he didn't have an estate. Now here's the other part. He gets um a lump sum, not a lump sum, he gets a percentage of the sales, which was $1 billion, right? But here's the other question. If it's not in an estate, who really is getting that money? Prince didn't have an estate. Aretha Franklin didn't have an estate. Like, we see so many people that have a lot of money that don't have an estate. So now the question is, like, and people get this misnomer that estate planning is just for the wealthy. No, it's not. It's for you and your family. It's for you as a single person. I mean, I even got stuff for that for single people. Like we got to start planning, right? We got to start um planning now. Like, don't have somebody dictate where your money is going. And I got stuff for that. Like, I've been watching a couple shows where they're like, man, make sure you pick people who are not gonna run away with your estate when you're doing your estate planning. Watch the watcher, right? So what does that look like? You need to leave instructions, because the person who may be the executor of your estate and you trust them to do what they need to do may not like somebody you want to you leave money to, and so they don't even leave the money. They don't even give them the option to even get the money, so they get written off. So, yeah, like, you got to have, again, step by step by step. Write that stuff down. Write it down. All right, so we're gonna get into this video, and then we're gonna get into everything that I just talked about, and go from there. Let me see. Let me get the comments as well too. Uh, No talks of IUL and life insurance. Well, we. You mean? Are you saying that they didn't talk about it, or I haven't talked about it? I'm not sure. Um, you're here for more than lie, D. We need Tammy D. What we need is info to survive day to day. Landlords kicking folks out of the apartments. We need a meal plan. I hear you. I hear you being funny. Um, right. Matt Romney got 197 million in a trust for kids and grandchildren. Yeah. All right. All right. So let's get into this video. Yeah, like I said, this gonna be controversial all day. It's gonna ruffle some feathers. I mean, some people gonna sign off and not be up here all day. I'm okay with that. Uh, but let's not focus on the problems. Let's focus on the solutions to those problems. Because we I hear this all the time. So let's get into it right now.
Good morning. I thought I'd like to take an opportunity to speak on this comment this fellow left. He left this comment on the video where I said that men have an issue with paying child support because they're not sleeping with the woman anymore. And his response is no, that's your opinion. This is far from facts. See, the real issue is women living off the money meant for the child. Sir, that's a cover up. It's a logical fallacy. And you guys like to run to what sounds logical to cover up your true feelings and your true motivations for your behavior. So let's go ahead and uncover this logical fallacy to reveal the truth. A woman who is single without children can live in a one-bedroom apartment. As a matter of fact, she can live in a studio apartment. Or she can rent a room with three other strangers, like I did once upon a time, and have lower bills. But once she has a child, she has to upgrade to a two-bedroom apartment. And if you're anything like a real father whose job is supposed to be protecting, you would want your child living in an area that is safe, not with drugs, guns, and violence. And if you care about your children's education, you want them living in an area where there are good schools, which means the property taxes will be higher, thus for the living expenses will be higher. Children need electricity. Children need transportation to and from, which is directly associated with gas costs. And depending on how many children you pump her up with, the type of vehicle that she will need. All of these are child support costs that you are responsible for a percentage of. But you don't want the money, the child support money being spent on any of those things. Why? Because it directly impacts the mother. You don't want child support being spent on things that are directly associated with the child as well as the mother. And why is that? Because you don't want to feel like you're supporting someone that you're no longer sleeping with anymore. So you only want your money being spent on things that only the child can use, which is illogical, sir. So stop trying to sound logical to cover up your true motivations. Your issue with child support is deeply rooted in the fact that you don't want to pay for a lifestyle or anything directly related to a woman that you are not sleeping with anymore. Now go run tell that because that is facts.
All right, let's go because I'm here for the heat today. All right, I'm here for the heat today. All right, so when I was looking at this video, right,
The
and I
Isaiah.
was also saw the woman this week, and the whole was it Burger King or McDonald's? Like I don't even remember whatever. And she was like, I don't get my food stamps to whatever, right? And then I hear this video, and then I hear other talks about, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna get married because the woman is gonna use the money for whatever the reason, or she's, I mean, having a kid, or it's so much, right? So okay, cool, fine. So let's get back to estate planning because this is where a lot of this can be avoided. A lot of this conversation, a lot of protections in place can be avoided. All right. First off, when we're talking about when we're talking about kids, right? I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what people don't like or whatnot. Um, it is what it is, right? You both laid down. And I got into a debate with somebody over this, right? There. I don't know of any place on earth where a man can, pr- you know, have an egg, and the man or even the woman have sex with themselves and then create this fetus and then carry a baby. Like, I don't know a human that can do that, right? I don't. And if there's one out there, if people, I know they're putting in transgenders, they're putting them having the ability to carry and all that. I got that. That's man made, right? I'm talking about humans. Like, I can't have my own without a sperm donor. I can't get pregnant, right, without sperm, right? And you have to give up your sperm in order to have that egg. So whatever. But let's skip all of that because I think we know nature. I think we know whatever, right? It is on the responsibility of both parents whenever that child comes, right? It is responsibility. It is also um, um, on the responsibility of you as a person before you get with someone to make sure that one, they have the mental capacity to do such an act on both ends, right? You need, the big booty Judy, uh, thigh meat Joe, whatever the case may be, hoochie daddy shorts and sundresses and got together and did an act and created this baby, right? And I watch all these little different shows, and like I see women say, "Oh, I had a one night stand and I ended up with twins," right? Um, from Thigh Meat Joe, it was a fling, and Thigh Meat Joe is not doing. He ain't in the life, and he just paying. I've seen friends where men have totally given up their entire, not just custody but rights to their child. Right? They're like, I don't want nothing to do with her or the child. Um, and it's a long story, but I've seen it. Right? So my here's my thoughts. How to protect yourselves if the child does come, right? How do you, hey, Alejandro, how do you protect yourselves before you get married? How do you protect yourself and everything? Like, so I did a run through of like prenups versus estate planning. I did. I went through. I went through that because I wanted to talk about because everybody's, it's kind of like what's that movie? Is it Waiting to Exhale, or it was another movie? The chick, no, it wasn't Waiting to Exhale. It was a Tyler Perry movie, and but it's the chick from Waiting to Exhale. The one was like, is he watching me? And when I walk up, and she walk off, and she looked like yeah, he watching. But she was in the Tyler Perry movie. And in one of the movies, she was like, "My things. He need to give me back my things." And every time I get in these rooms and stuff like that, that's what I feel like people are saying. Like, I don't want you to take my things. Don't take my things. But do nothing, absolutely nothing to protect those things that are so precious and so rare that if someone comes and takes them, they are gonna die. Like, you know, like you're gonna have an aneurysm, like the little baby that's going around that's sitting on the counter and he's squealing with his dad. Like, that's how I feel like people are at that point, right? That's what I feel like. So I went and looked up some stuff because let's talk about what your options are. That's where we're at, right? We want to know what our options are. All right, so let's start with this one. And I'm going to bring this over. Because I want, oh, his website is down. See, look, let me show you. This is what people need help. Look, his website is down. I hope all his website isn't down. Let's see. I think his all of his yeah, all his whole website is down. Anyway, so in this one is 3 reasons why singles without kids need an estate plan. That is what color, yeah, for colored girls. Yeah. Um, and it talk in here, it talks about what you need to put into your estate. So I got to thinking, and I was asking myself, people are into stocks, they're into crypto, they're into mining Bitcoin and so forth, and Ethereum and different things, right? So I was asking, I was like, I was looking up, like, can you put that into your estate plan? And you can. So what my thing is this, right? My thing is this: everybody that has something that you want to protect, go protect it, right? Go protect it. And from what I've been researching, and this I'm so sad that his website is down. From what I've been researching is having an estate is better than having a prenup, right? Having an estate plan is better than having a prenup. And here's one of the big reasons is if you go into this, that with the money that you have made as a person, and you have built up this wealth, and you have this in an estate, when it comes down to when it's time to get married, right, your stuff is already protected. And I hear a lot of men like, well, I don't want her to take half. Well, you didn't have a good plan, sir. You didn't have a good plan, sir. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. You went in and didn't protect yourself. So you need to protect yourself. Now I got to go out here and find the other articles. This is not working because I don't like to give you all fluff about these things. It make me want to go in there and contact support and be like, "Can you restart the server?" Anyway, let me go to this other one. So I actually found this one right here too. So let's talk about it. His site is down. We'll check it later on. All right. So I was like, well, as we do estate planning, what could be in the portfolio? So back to the original conversation about the child support, and you're worried about if something is going to go to her, this, that, and the other, if she's going to live off of X, Y, and Z, right? You both chose. That's my thought on that, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, the question is, what are you going to do for that child outside of what you've given to her? Are you setting up an estate for that child? Are you setting up things for that child outside of her, right? You give her that whatever 400, and then you still have this whole new life that this child comes over into. What are you doing for the child over there, right? Are you putting up are you setting up bank accounts? Are you buying property for that child or whatnot? So I have questions about that part, right? Outside of you giving up this, and then this comes into the question of, do you even have money to do this over here, right? Do you even have money to do this over here? I'm gonna pull up another controversial video, and I'm not gonna play it because we got flagged the last time we played the Dave Ramsey video. I'm just gonna highlight the actual title and what the lady's outcome was. What she said, right? I'm not gonna play
But
it
the
though.
thing
I'm just gonna bring it over. All right. So look, my fiance didn't tell me about his $250,000 debt that he has, and they're engaged. And so now she's saying, I don't want to get married because he's not financially sound. And she said that he didn't tell her. And so Dave Ramsey asked her, "Well, did you ask?" And she's like, "No, I didn't ask." So what I'm saying to you is, this could be a man or a woman. Go put your stuff in some type of a trust or estate. And this is why I brought over here and talked about estate, your estate planning portfolio. What does that look like? The money and the things that you have accumulated before you meet your person, right? Because there's no way you shouldn't be protecting yourself, right? $250,000 in debt. They get married. She has no debt. She works. Where do you think her money is going? Right? Her money isn't going to build up the family per se. It's to get him out of debt. In 2022 days, men are saying she'll take my money because it is because they're not protecting. Yeah, they're not protecting themselves, right? You're not protecting it in multiple ways, not just financially, but physically, with condoms and so forth and so on. You're not doing what you're supposed to do, and women are not doing what they're supposed to do either, right? Just I ain't gonna get raunchy. Let me not, because I was gonna say I could have said something. I'm just not gonna get. I'm not gonna do it. All right, so let's talk about this. All right, so your estate planning, and everybody's like, well, what's this got to do with the child support? Well, here's where this comes in into play, right? You meet a woman, or a woman meets a man, and you're like, well, what is it? People always like, what debt or what can that person do for me? It does have the consequences. What can that person do for me, and so forth. All right, so let's talk about it. All right, estate planning, and this is from 2015. I just wanted to give an overview, and we're gonna get into it. Right. Most of the critical pieces of personal information you compile, Jennifer Carlson, an estate turning, blah, 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 blah. At the time of one's passing, family members are grieving, and it's often difficult to identify the assets you own. And let me blow this up. The assets that you own, location of passwords and usernames, right? Retrieve necessary documents. The other one, who's going to be the person over the estate, who gets to say what, how, who, when, and gets what, all of that, right? Because none of us knows when our portfolio will be needed. Compiling your portfolio information is a task that cannot wait until later. So, what does that look like? Marriage license, divorce and separation documents, social security information, military service information, tax returns, list of advisors, safety deposit box, personal I mean, not personal, prepaid funeral information, cemetery plots, usernames, passwords, and verification questions. Like, you don't think about these things, right? What if the person used a particular laptop? If the person used a particular tablet? Have people write that stuff out. These are things that you're going to need in there. But let's look at what assets can be in this portfolio. Real estate deeds, vehicle and motor, stocks, bonds, and investments. Stocks, bonds, and investments. Your stock portfolio that you got in Fidelity or Charles Schwab or what have you, right? Cyber assets, a web page, a domain, a blog, things that belong to you. Your name. Your name is a digital asset. Your branding, those are digital assets, right? Installment contract, promissory notes, banking credit union accounts, college savings, life insurance policies, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, the whole nine, individual retirements, pension documents, annuity contracts, job related benefits, fraternal benefits, right? Estate planning documents, will, trust, letters of instructions, medical history, health insurance information, long term care insurance policy, medical power information, living will, do not resuscitate order, right? And here it says general power attorney. You may choose to keep hard copies of these documents organized in files. Organize everything. Put things up, right? Keep stuff put together, so if something happens to you, right, somebody can get access to these accounts, and so forth. People don't have access to the account. They're not going to share that, or whatnot. Some of these companies are not willing, like that person is gone, but they still have an account here. We're just going to keep paying you out of this account. But, it depends, right? So I'm simply saying here, you have some options to look at. All right, so let me see if they say back up. Nope, still not back up. All right, that's fine. All right, so let me look at this here. Which one was this one? Oh, this may be getting going off my topic here. Nah, let me look at my other one. All right, cool. All right, hold on. Let me look at this. IPOs, growing sector. All right, so we're gonna have to play the lookup game. All right, so let's look it up because this side is down. All right, prenups versus estate planning. Who's a good one here? Okay, all right. Let's look at this one. Oh, and that changed too. Mm, I don't like that site. I don't like that one. The other guy, he had also detailed information on what you can do as a father or as a mother for your children, for estate planning for your child now, versus waiting on till later. Let me do this. And I like estate planning over prenups, honestly. Let me look at this one. More assets, prenuptial agreements, right? Housing matters, trust, creating a prenup, postnuptials, and so forth. Oh, and I'm gonna bring this over too while I'm thinking about it, because I'm just gonna play the first part of this, and then we can actually go a little bit more into it. When we get there. Hold on, let me go back into my history because I was watching it this morning. Hold on, I'm gonna
Hey, estate planning.
bring my guy over first. We're gonna get back to my guy. I always got a backup plan. Is the protect my exit prenuptial agreement useless? Right? Is it useless? All right, so hold on, let me get this because a lot of people be asking questions. This is from the lead attorney and so forth. But
Trying to operate on your own.
let's get this over here.
Question before.
Let's go. We have your boy, y'all, some of y'all favorite YouTubers. All right, so let's go here, and then we're gonna look at Robles.
Before I start bringing people up, though, Lee, prenups, postnups, things like that. I think that there's a misunderstanding in that prenups don't hold up as often as they do. I don't know, right? Because again, I'm not privy, so I try not to speak on things that I'm not aware of. Although guys that I do coach and they come to me and they do have significant assets and they work their way into life and they come to me and they say, Anton, I'm thinking about getting married, but I had the conversation with my future wife and she don't want me to. She's.
Let me pause right there. Prenups are not just for men. Prenups are for women as well too. Women, protect yourselves. You've worked hard. You've gotten to a point where you're debt free. You have income, rentals, and so forth and so on. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourselves. It's not a bad thing that you went out there and you worked your ass off. Protect yourself. That's it. That's it. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with a man protecting himself, right? Again, no estate, no date. If he comes to the table with his estate already planned, and you come to the table with your estate already planned, why don't be scared, right? And I think that's a number one problem is when I think for men presenting a woman with a prenup, I think it's not enough being done in terms of what that looks like, right? You can have a you can literally um go and create your own prenup as well too, right? But here's the thing, and I think this is another conversation that actually came up. I was talking to somebody online about, and they were saying, I think in the state of California, they live in California. They was like, California won't even look at you with a prenup if people are not making 2 or 300,000. I don't know how true that is or not, but what I'm simply saying is we're so worried about my stuff that it's keeping you from even moving forward when there's solutions that you could put in place to move forward. Like, it don't make sense to me. So it's just another talk. It's just another is, as he likes to say, you're running in the victim Olympics. You just want to be a victim. You can't be a victim and a hero at the same time. You got to pick a struggle. You got to pick a struggle. Like, one day you're a victim, then the next day you're a hero. You got to pick one, right? So again, when we talk about the things that you acquire, protect yourselves. That's all we're saying.
Fighting the prenup or whatever, and I don't let them go into it at all, and I push them, and they wind up getting the paperwork done, right? Can you give us some insight on whether or not prenups hold up and how often they hold up or modified, especially for regular everyday people?
Yeah, they hold up. They hold up all the time. Really, I don't want to say anything is 100%, but it's like 99%. Here's the thing about prenups. And you see that you're so right, Anton. There's like this is one of the biggest misconceptions in the manosphere, and it's perpetuated for some reason all of the time. All these guys in the red pill community I think they use it as as another justification as to why men should not get married.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, you're gonna get, divorce this or divorce that. Prenups work all of the time, like 99% of the time, if you do them the right way. They're basically 4 steps. If you follow these just 4 steps, guys, it will absolutely hold up.
All right, so I'm not gonna let it play the whole time. But what I'm simply saying is, if you're not gonna even do an estate plan, at least do a prenup, and you have the right to not do it on or do it, right? What'd you say, Nessie? You said no respect for TLA. TLA. He is a jack of all trades. I get it. The state is a complex area of law and varies from state. It does vary from state to state, but it doesn't mean it dissolves you from me having my house in California, and I have a house in Michigan, and I roll that under my estate or in my trust. And when I do decide to go get married, that I don't have something in place for protection. That's what I'm looking for. What can you do, and what can you put in place for protection? And we get in these conversations, and we argue about it, and no one executes or does the steps to even find out what your options are, or even if that is true. Like, we don't even do that part. That's the part we need to get out of. That's what angers me the most. Donna Watt said, I always wonder why. What's the problem with protecting your assets when you can build something with your spouse that's separate from your individual assets? I don't know. I have that conversation too. Again, I like I said before, if I come into the place with 40 million, right, and I got 40 million, and I got it set up in a trust or some type of estate, um, and you and I decide to get married, that 40 million is not your 40 million. It's that 40 million is to X, Y, and Z. If I choose to take out something from that 40 million and say, hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say, hey, I got 2 million that I'm pulling out that I'm gonna put into this marriage to build up our new road to wealth, or whatever that looks like, or whatever we plan on doing. Then that 2 million, I'm okay with losing that 2 million. You know, here I'm not okay losing 40 million, right? Or 38 million now. I'm not okay with losing 38 million. Yeah, and I want us to be aware of, like, hey, we have all these arguments about nothing when there's actually problems, or we have solutions out here, and then it doesn't need to be an argument. So This video is 9 minutes long. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'll let you listen to the first part of the first 3 or 4 minutes, and I think you'll get the idea.
Attorney Paul Rabelais here, and in this video, we're going to talk about whether that I'm getting married later in life, I'm getting married again, I want to protect my assets, so I want to do a prenup, whether that use the prenup to protect your assets is actually worthless. Okay, so there's a myth out there that I've had to dispel more times than I care to imagine. Let me give you the situation. So let's call them Florence and Frank. You know, they're getting married. They've each been married before, and they're getting married. Let's say they're 63 years old. And, you know, as part of the getting married process, they want to make sure all their bases and options are covered from a legal, financial, tax standpoint. So they decide, Florence says, well, why don't we go to my old divorce lawyer and we'll get a prenup? Because that's what, you know, that's what people do when they have children and get married later in life. And so as part of that's what they do. And as part of that process, maybe before they get married or around the time they get married, or maybe even shortly after they get married, Florence, you know, she tells Frank, maybe she tells the divorce lawyer, maybe she tells her children, maybe she tells anybody who's willing to listen to her. She says, you know, I have considerable assets and I'm getting married and I have my home that Frank's going to move into my home. And I have a couple of pieces of rental property that Florence says. And, you know, I have some significant investments, you know, several $100,000 of investments and savings. And I want to make sure that if Frank later in life has to go into a nursing home, of course, I'll keep him in my home as long as I can. But, you know, there may be a point where he's kind of big and I can't physically take care of him. There may be a point where he'll have to go to a nursing home. And if that's the case, I want to make sure, Florence says, my assets are protected for myself and eventually for my 3 children. And then she tells Frank, well, you know, Frank, you have some assets too, and I'm sure you'd want the prenup so that your assets would be protected if I went into a nursing home, Florence says. And Frank has about $100,000 of savings. So they get their prenup done. They go on with life. 10 years later, they're 73 years old. And at that point, Florence let's say she contacts me for the first time. And she calls me and, you know, she says, Mr. Rabelais, I covered all of my bases. I'm just calling because I have a couple of questions. Frank's health is deteriorating. He's fallen a couple of times. He's broken a couple of bones. And we all can see that Frank's mind is slipping. We haven't taken him to the doctor yet, but we all know there's likely some dementia setting in. And so we kind of see that, you know, he may have to go into a nursing home in the fairly near future because I can't take care of him, Florence says. So I just have a couple of questions. And so she says, look, Mr. Rabelais, we got married 10 years ago. And I made sure that before we got married that we did a prenup because I wanted, you know, I did a prenup so as to protect my assets for my children.
I just want to stop right there. Frank got it bad. Frank done fell, he done broke some bones. Frank got it bad. Frank is down bad. City boys down. City boys down. Y'all down. But Frank needs help. And Frank may or may not, I don't know, we're gonna watch the story, may or may not have enough to cover some things, and y'all may not have put things in place either. So let's continue to go on to this. On the way to the upper room, drop a 1 in the comments if you like what you're hearing today. And understand where we're going with this. It's too bad I can't bring up the other stuff because the dude on that particular link, I hope he come back. I hope he come back. So why does Frank have to become a burden on my tax? City boys down, city boys, city boys. I need for y'all to get your insurance up. I told you I'm gonna do a show on health insurance inside of your estate portfolio. I'm gonna do a whole. I'm gonna dedicate a whole show. I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna pull some stuff, and we're gonna talk about your health insurance, right? Outside of your job, your HSAs. This is where your HSAs come into play, right? It's also where you need to make sure you're protecting yourself outside of your job, right? And what does that look like going into your marriage, right? What is your health going into that marriage, and things that you need to have in place health wise going into it, right? Just a lot of things. A lot of things I looked at this week on Dave Ramsey show. Just a sidebar. One of the guys was dating a young lady. He met her in college. He went. He told her. She told him to go get his STD check, his test. He did. He brought back the results. She didn't give up results. They ended up having sex with each other. He trans. She gave him something, and on top of that, they broke up. And so he was trying to figure out what should he be doing in life. Like, how do I tell? He's like, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to do X, Y, and Z. But how do I tell this new woman or these new people that I meet that this happened, right? And we'll go from there. And he was like, and I've also got, I also have assets. He was like, I've gained, I've worked and I've gained some assets and things too. So what does that look like? So I got all kind of stuff, the thoughts and stuff. Corinne said, you for real, like the man who doesn't want to pay for the baby mama because he's not sleeping with her anymore. This is the same thing. Florence doesn't want to pay for Frank anymore. It said it boils down to who do you trust the most to take care of yourself when you retire, the government or you're planning your future. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see where he goes with this. All right, let's go.
In the event Frank goes into a nursing home. So with all that being said, I just have a couple of questions moving forward. And at that point, kind of the light in my head goes off, and I'm like, Francis, Florence, I'll be happy to answer those questions that you have. But you know what, Florence, I'm kind of a stickler for details. Can we go back to that statement that you made where you said you did a prenup because you knew you wanted to protect your assets for your two children in case Frank went into a nursing home? She's like, yeah, what'd you have in mind? She said, and I said, well, Florence, you've probably never heard of the Community Spouse Resource Allowance. She goes, no, never heard of anything like that before. What's that mean? So I said, well, Florence, here's the deal. And I realized y'all did the prenup 10 years ago, and you did it right before you got married, and you wanted to protect your assets. However, from a nursing home or from a Medicaid standpoint, if Frank goes into the nursing home, sometime in the next few months or the next year or two, yes, you said he has about $100,000 of savings. Of course, that's all exposed. He'll have to, spend that down to $2,000 or less. And she says, yeah, I realize that. But, she says, my assets are protected because we have a prenup. But I said, not so fast, Florence, because our Medicaid rules say that because y'all are married, they're not only going to look at Frank's assets, but they're going to look at your assets. And if your assets exceed $128,640, if your accountable resources are more than that, then even though you have a prenup and those are your separate assets and Frank has no ownership interest in them at all, you still got to spend your assets on Frank because y'all are married, and under the Community Spouse Resource Allowance rules, you can only have $128,640 of what's called countable resources. So she says, well, I've got...
Pause right there. No estate, no date. So the prenup. Okay, so it goes back to the original thing that I was saying before, right? Understand what estate planning does versus what prenup does, right? I'm not saying that you're gonna be Scrooge and not take care of your significant other. That's not what I'm promoting. What I'm saying is if you are going into things and you've accumulated this wealth and so forth, and you're trying to figure out where in the world does Frank and Florence fit in this happy life that we're trying to build together. And I have $2 million, but because Frank needs to go into a nursing home, I have to pull my stuff down to 128,000. Because again, uh, when you go into a nursing home, you can't have but so much. So this is what y'all need to look up to. What are the rules for going into a nursing home? I know people don't want to go into them, right? But sometimes you may have to, especially a lot of men that are single and a lot of women that are single and that are older. There, there's a few people out there that are talking about this, like men who are single and living in apartments, and they're finding dead men in apartments. They're finding them being there for weeks at a time and nobody has came to check on them and so forth. What are you doing to make sure that you at least get checked on? Like, don't be that person where nobody doesn't even know you exist anymore, right? Don't be that person, right? Um, Don does a lot of love, but Florence is like, sir, we had a prenup. You're like, well, not so fast. Now the question is, this is what you're gonna have to look into. Does the estate planning protect you from this as well? Right? Does estate planning protect you from this? But then also, they could have also had some health insurance protection for them as a couple, as well too. Yep. Yeah. Yep. That's the difference. That's the difference. All right, let's go.
My rental properties, and I've got several $100,000 of savings. You mean even though we have a prenup, I'm going to spend all of that? I say, yeah, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. And so she says, well, I don't understand. Why didn't anybody tell me that? And, going through my mind is, okay, you went and got your prenup done from your previous divorce lawyer who, probably never has looked at the long-term care Medicaid regulations. And you probably talked to the people at the beauty shop and the grocery store, and maybe even talked to your kids, and they've never looked at the Medicaid regulations. So you just, right, wrong, or indifferent, you didn't solicit advice from someone who knowingly could have identified that issue for you, so you could have addressed it at that time. But now that Frank is on the doorstep of the nursing home, it could be a real mess on your hands if you tried to take action to protect your assets, because when a spouse who's going to be staying at home, like yourself, Florence, if you start transferring your assets, that makes Frank ineligible for Medicaid for, likely the next 5 years or more. So now Florence is in a pickle. Now, is her prenup useless? No, that's a strong word. Is it worthless? That's a strong word. Assuming Frank and Florence don't have to spend everything at the nursing home because they didn't, make provisions for that. Assuming there's something left when one or both of them pass away, yeah, the prenup will likely have done its job insofar as keeping assets separate, avoiding our Louisiana community property rules. Florence's assets, Frank's assets when he dies will go to his children. Florence's assets when she dies will go to her children. Maybe since Florence owned the home, Florence, if she dies first, will give Frank that right to live there. And then when Frank dies, Florence's home reverts back to Florence's children. And maybe the prenup helped accomplish all of that, made it real clear who owns what. And that's, again, if there's anything left when Florence and Frank died. But that prenup, if you are under the assumption that couples who do a prenup before they get married are somehow protecting assets from one or both of the spouses going into the nursing home. That's a false assumption. So, moral of the story here is get yourself informed. Number one, perhaps you need to get some good legal help as your family circumstances are changing significantly. Number two, here's an idea, like so many others in the comments to these videos have stated, binge watch my videos. Number three, make sure you turn the gray like button to blue by clicking on it, and then also subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything as I keep producing more estate planning videos, and then you'll be informed to take the appropriate action and do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family.
So that was it, right? So we got some little clarity there, some nuances that are not covered, right, with your prenups, right? Again, yeah, I know going in, you got to be legally poor going into the nursing home, right? Yeah, I got that. Yep. So that's what I mean, right? Understand what your options are, right? You can do a prenup, but then there's some caveats that it may not cover. But I keep going back to the estate and looking, and like I showed earlier, your estate portfolio, right? And what that could look like. I think we have to start looking at things from that perspective, right? What that looks like. All right. So last week I mentioned about I bonds, and then I got some other things I want to bring up. Too bad I couldn't get into the controversial talk, but that's okay. We'll save it for later. What'd you say? Do you plan to leave enough money to care for you in an assisted living facility, which looks like a home instead of a nursing home? It depends, right? Because living in Florida, there's like retirement communities, like, and I want to say planned communities. So one of the big planned communities in Florida, from what I see and what I experience, is Lakewood Ranch. Uh, what's going on, Ray? Thank you for catching the live. And here's where I'm going with Lakewood Ranch. Lakewood Ranch is one of the places that I have seen where inside of the community itself, you got every single thing. You got the retirement community, you have the hospital, you have the assisted facilities, you have the grocery stores, you have lawn care. I mean, everything that you could possibly think of that you would need as you get older if you were by yourself or with someone. And I'm pointing that out because I could just pull it up. It's a planned community that um, that really pushes the I could have my grandmother live in this community. I could live in this community. It is really planned for for you at every stage of your life, right? Say you're married and then you become divorced or whatnot, or you all married and you transition as you get older. It is one of those things. Lakewood Ranch is one of those places, right? And again, I'm just gonna go over the golf cart community. Everybody rides around on golf carts to get to where they need, in certain areas of the community. The gyms, even the like I would go to the gym down the street from my job, and when I would go into the gym was for older people. It was at a country club. The gym was for really for older people, but they had assistants in there to help people with the weights. They would have swim classes for 65 and older. They have nutritionists on site as they come into the gym, and let's take your weight, let's do this. What are you? The doctors are in touch with the actual trainer. It's a whole plan. Like, it was one of the places where I looked at and said, what could life actually look like and be? And people flock to this area, and I understand why they flock, because I can have my grandmother living in a place, or my grandfather, or my grandparents living in a situation where they're still not riddled with crime. They have the banks, they have the everything right there ready to rock. So again, we got healthy living, school, shopping. Then they got let's look at the community map. Um, so, like, this is what you see right here. All of this is what is considered, and they've expanded from since when I've been down there. All of this is Lakewood Ranch. I worked off a university. This is just one area right here. Let me blow this up right here. Oh, I can't. It won't let me do it. But these are the houses. But what I wanted to show was what the community is. This is just one area of the community, right? You have let me see, regional map. Let me see if they're gonna blow that up a little bit here. Yeah, so this is what it's like. The areas right out here's Sarasota, and then right, if you get off of University, you turn left. You're right at Lakewood Ranch. You go to the right, you're at the mall, right? I got a couple of friends. A big HBCU from Howard is in that area. A whole bunch of people who graduated from Howard live in this area, and they have a big community gathering, conference and everything. You'd be surprised. But again, it is one of those things where where I recognize what these planned developments could look like, right? From biking to access to nursing homes, to access to doctors, access to pharmacists. Uh, you always see people riding around doing wellness checks. Um, just it's just one of those things that you get in a community. Like, of course, there's property taxes and HOAs and stuff like that. But again, what could you, being a single 65-year-old man, look like? Versus staying in an apartment. You're in a community where people check on you. They got gatherings. They have events. We didn't see you last week. We're doing our check. We're making sure you're okay because we know you're older. That kind of thing. People riding the security riding around on golf carts. Doing the check. Is it intrusive? It could be, but again, it beats you sitting in a house somewhere and no one knows what's going on with you, right? So that's what I see. That's what I've seen. Was IOU? I'm not sure what IOU. Um, but yeah, Lakewood Ranch is one of those areas. And Dee's been in Lakewood Ranch. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, yeah, co-living, the whole nine. All right, it is a mini city. It is. I mean, let me look up Lakewood Ranch, Main Street. Um, this is this is where I would go. I think I showed y'all that last week. Um, Let me see. So right here, take me to Main Street. And then off of Main Street, like they had just built not Anytime Fitness, but a LA Fitness. But here you got, this is what they do. They block off the street and everybody walks around and they come out, this, that, and other. This is, what Main Street looks like. My job was up the street from there, but again, you have your athletic club, you have your yoga, you have lending, whatever you need whatever you could possibly think of. There's no reason unless you want to go to a particular restaurant in town, but there's really no reason for you to leave Sarasota, the Lakewood Ranch. There's really no reason. It is. It has. They have everything you could possibly think of. Um, yeah, they got everything you could possibly think of. Like, um, actually went in this building here. The soap company, and I often wonder what that would look like if I built something. What would that look like if I built something like that? If I built a subdivision like that, Station 400, I used to go there and eat. Um, let me see, yeah, this is everything they got, right? That's just one little area. It expands past that as well too. You go down the street, there is a fresh market, the open market, where you come get your food. You get, if you want to go to the farm, like if I cut work early enough on a maybe on a Friday, I could drive down the street, go to the farm, pick my fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, bring it on back home. You have, or if you want to get a little further, I never did take Dion to this one. A little further up, if you wanted fresh milk from the cows and so forth and so on, you could have got that, right? So yeah, so many different types of communities, and it is not, here it is aimed towards the older adults, but they are further up the highway. They're younger adults, that they're aimed towards the marriage. Hey, you're 25 and you just got married and you want to have a healthy living. They have that too. So it is the closer you get to Sarasota is the closer you get to a retirement age, but the further out they didn't have that. They were a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more, hey, younger, hipper crowd type of situation. But yeah, that's what they got. All right, so I don't know if you all remember this guy. I do. Bobby Bonilla. I think um he was actually on Twitter this week. I think he was actually streaming. Somebody said, I got a question, but relate to another video I saw you all. Do you have a way to avoid being set up to make 46,200, like Tameika said, when y'all was talking about the lady that does cybersecurity? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. I have a question, but related to another video I saw you from. Do you have a way to avoid being set up to make 46,000? When you say that, I'm not sure. D, drop the link and you can come up and ask the question yourself. I'm not really sure that on that one. What you're asking. I'm sorry. Okay, so Bobby Bonilla used to be a baseball player back in the day, and he's actually set to he's retired 10 years ago, and over a decade ago, and he's still getting paid 1.22 million from in his contract. 1.2 million. So right here, the Mets. Happy Bobby Vanilla Day. Here's why the Mets pay him 1.19 million every July 1st. 1.9 million. For most of us, and let me blow this up. And yeah, he retired back in 1999. Right? For most of us, it's simply July 1st, but New York Mets fans know it's a different name, Bobby Vanilla Day. Each year on the 1st of July, the former Mets collects a paycheck of under 1.2 million all the way until 2035. He retired in 1999, and until 2035 he's going to collect 1.2 million, right? All right. So why? Because the Mets deferred. I'm gonna read this and I'll bring you up in a minute. Okay, Ray? I see you in the back. I'll just hold on a second. All right. Why? Because the Mets deferred the 5.9 million he was supposed to make in 2000 when he was released that January and never played, stretching it out 24 years with 8% interest. That means 5.9 million would actually be 29.8 million. And I just wanted to bring this up because again, when we talk about accumulating wealth and negotiating and so forth and so on, I just wanted to show you, and this you don't have to look at this just as a deal from a sports perspective, but look at it as something that you could utilize in your own perspective, right? When you're looking at stuff, right? When you're on your own perspective, right? Um, at the time, the Mets ownership was invested in Bernie Madoff account that promised double-digit returns, and the Mets were poised to make a significant profit if Madoff account delivered. Madoff was returning 12 to 15% a year in what we know were fictional returns, so deferring deals wasn't a problem. So they deferred, and it has collected over time, right? It has collected over time. So he gets paid that 1.2 million all the way until 2035. 2035. He's retired in 1999. So then I have to ask this question, and this is a question you should ask. How does he get paid that 1.2 million? Is it a trust? Does the 1.2 million leave the Mets and go into a trust? Because there's taxes on that. What does that look like? So think about that. All right. Let's get to Ray. I see you in the back, Ray. You come on up. D, you can bring Ray up.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Ray. How you doing?
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello to you too, D.
She in the back.
Uh, I was watching one of your videos. You have a lot of videos, and the live streams are like 4 or 5 hours long. And I try to
Mm-hmm.
watch them, not saying during my work hours because I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
tell myself, but
Mm-hmm.
this is how I catch you. But transitioning to from Indiana to Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to catch you, but now I finally caught you on Saturday, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, you guys were talking to a lady that was going through a IT boot camp, and I've heard you say before that those boot camps that allow you to go through free, they've already received their money. They're just trying to push you through. And you
Mm-hmm.
said that they were setting her up only to make $46,000 a year
Mm-hmm.
with basic certifications
Mm-hmm.
or pathway. I just wanted to ask you, like, because I've done well, if I get my bachelor's degree, I can go to this level. If I get my MBA, I'm at this level. Mr. Tameika, I done all that. And my salary does not match my qualifications.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer checking the box. I'm trying to get the key to the house, to the
Gotcha.
golden gate.
I got you.
So do you recommend, I know you talked about Linux a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that intermediate level starting out, or is that just basic? You're Red Hat.
So, so the red hat one, and I'm glad you brought this up because actually on the second show, I'm actually going to go over all of this
Uh-oh.
training. No, you fine. You fine.
Can I just know the date and time? Because I can get
Today,
off.
today,
All right.
today. But you're here now.
Okay.
You could have been anywhere else, but you're here, like they say.
Yes.
All right. So to answer your question is this. Well, let's back up. Let's talk
Okay.
about what was going on there. What was going on there was she was going through a boot camp that was going to teach her I think it was the A plus and the network plus.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Those are fine just to get started in tech, but they don't lend you the money that's really out here, right?
Yeah.
And when I say the money, and CTO advisor, if you still in the comments, you can come up as well too. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking about there's a difference in coming in with a salary at a help desk at 45,000 and a salary with a certain set of skills at 100,000, right? And also you have to look at how long is it going to take you to move from this 46,000 to get to this 100,000. And for a lot of people is a couple of things. It's the time, it's their age, it's family, and it's also debt.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So those four things, and you're at 46,000, and you're trying to work your way up to get here. I'm not making excuses saying that people can't do it. What I'm simply saying is stop going for the minimum stuff and let's focus on maximizing your time and your skills that's going to get you at least here to 100 so you can at least see the light. I really prefer for people to be at 200, but
Yeah.
I get pushback for that. So I'll be nice and say, I know for a fact with these set of skills, you can at least be at 100. There is more money to be made with those set of skills, but let's just say 100 for now, right? And that's your basic Linux, cloud, security, in Kubernetes, right? That's the whole world around DevSecOps. Now, the question that I get all the time is, how long is it going to take me? How long do you have to wait, right? How much time are you going to invest in it? Because I don't know a lot of people that go from 46,000 to 100,000 in 6 or 7 months without some type of certification, without networking,
Yes.
without doing these things. So I'm just trying to get you to understand that these four sets of skills at least get you in the door, at least at a base of 100. And then from there, you can maneuver and say in a year or two, maybe even in 6 months, depending, you'll be at 200.
Well, I remember D saying, "Don't nobody want your little $100,000." So
Right. But let's talk. I'm glad you brought that up, right? And I do this on the show all the time. Let's talk about that $100,000.
okay.
And in fact, I was just on the phone with a friend this morning, and we were talking about $100,000, right? He's in the DMV area, right? He's in like Fairfax, Tyson's Corner. That $100,000 get
Gone.
chopped up like Swiss cheese.
Yes.
Chopped up like Swiss cheese. I've lived in that area. I understand and I know. But let's not even use DMV as the example. Let's pull out from the DMV and let's come back and say most major cities right now. We already seen the report that it's $2,000 across the United States as a minimum for rent. I don't know why it just came out. That shit has been happening for a very
Yeah.
long
I'm
time.
paying 1,800 for. I don't even want to talk about where I'm staying at.
Right.
$1,800.
Right. 1,800, right?
It's not a 2 bedroom. It's a 1 bedroom and a half.
1 bedroom and a half, right?
Because it's not the second bedroom's not even the second bedroom.
Right. It's just some place you put some stuff in.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I had one in Tyson's Corner and I was paying 2,300. That wasn't even including the cost to have a parking spot.
Yes.
That didn't even include the cost to have whatever little amenities that they have, right? That doesn't include your trash, that doesn't include your water, that doesn't include your power. That's just rent,
Yes.
right? So let's take your 1,800. You max out your 401k every month. That's 1,708 to max it out for at 25, right? So let's just say let's call it 18 and 18 for shits and giggles here. All right, so we're at $3,600 a month. You still haven't included your gas. You still
Yeah.
haven't included your car note. You still haven't included whether or not you have children or you got to take care of a ailing spouse, or you may
Parent. Yeah.
have a family, or even you just want to stack money for something else. I haven't even gotten into that. So when I look at the $100, I'm not saying that it's nothing. What I'm saying is it doesn't allow you the ability to maximize your investments outside of your job. It does not give you that ability. I know what it looks like, right? And people like, well, you don't have to live in that $1,800 a month apartment. You're right, you don't. You don't have to live there. But now we got to talk about, where do you really live?
Exactly.
Where do
I'm
you
too
really
old to be running and ducking and getting on the flow. So if I
What
say
do you-
barely middle class, it's barely. I don't even think it's middle class, to be
Right.
honest.
Right. right. And
The apartment, the place I wanted was an apartment, but it was $2,400 a month, and it just didn't make sense for me in my head.
I get you. Are you in the DMV area?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay, all right. So, but again, when I talk about this, I'm not talking about it like saying it's a shame on you that you're only making 100. What I'm simply saying, it doesn't equate to what the lifestyle that you need to live in order to invest, in order to talk about wealth accumulation, in order to talk about moving up the chain and leaving stuff for your family. If you want to take out life insurance, if you want to do term, if you want to do whole life or permanent, you want to do an annuity or what have you. When you start getting into that situation, you need money. You need money to pay for those things.
Yes, you
You
do.
need as Dave Ramsey and all the investors say, an emergency fund, right? Just a mint like most Americans don't even have $1,000 put aside
They don't
for
even
the
have $500 put aside.
right. So again, I don't get the pushback for not for you being at 46,000 and not wanting to move up to 200,
Yeah,
right? I don't get that pushback. All I can say is, hey, this is what we need to do. Here's how we can do it, and here's where we need to be. Period.
yeah.
We can't hear you. I'm gonna still answer your question in terms of like what you should be doing. I know you want to know what step one, step two, step three, and step four is. I got you. You want to say something?
Yeah, basically with that life insurance, I mean it's crazy because I was talking about that when I was putting in a check that I'm sorry, I got somebody talking right now. I'm sorry. I
No,
go
that's you. That's your background.
Yeah, that's my background. That's why I was saying I go on mute for a minute because he got
Okay.
on the phone right when I got him.
Okay. No
Well,
problem.
I was gonna say this that because this warehouse life right now that I'm in, and I'm a QA systems manager with
Mm-hmm.
Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new facility.com facility that started up, but I know in my heart of hearts, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing.
Right.
That doesn't excite me.
But you're in the perfect company because are you familiar with Walmart Labs?
Yes, Walmart Labs, and then there's
Yeah.
Global Tech, but finding someone to network in within, I've been facing a lot of challenges
Okay.
because it's hard sending those. Sorry, it's hard sending them those cold, like a cold call
Okay.
to get someone to reply. I've
Got
tried LinkedIn, I've tried through the channels,
you. Mm-hmm.
and it's tough.
Okay, well, let me look at my channels because I know a couple of people over at Walmart Labs.
Okay, okay,
Um, and here's the it's so funny you mentioned it. Walmart Labs is very big on I believe it's OpenStack. Is very big on OpenStack. So if you turned around, especially you're doing QA and whatnot, if you turned around and started learning OpenStack, Walmart Labs is a very big contributor to the OpenStack community. I think OpenStack is easy to learn because
okay.
it's a monster. It's a big project, but I think OpenStack gets you that in the door for Walmart because you're already there, right? So I think I'll cover it on the next show. I think it's DO 180, but there's also Morantis has an open stack exam that you can take, and I took the open stack exam. All right,
Okay.
so what is OpenStack? OpenStack is your hybrid cloud that you can build on-prem. So if I was sitting in the data center and instead of me using AWS or whatnot, I would use OpenStack to build my own cloud. OpenStack has many pieces that can interchange with it. When I say many pieces, you may have 20 services that you can pick from to make up your stack in order to provide value to your customer.
Okay.
So you can learn different things, right? So what OpenStack does give you in terms of you getting a certification, it gives you the ability to go anywhere you want to.
Yes, and I am not stuck on I'm just gonna say on any particular company
I got you.
because those days
I
pretty much
flow.
gone to me.
I flow with you. I hear what you're saying. So what I'm also saying too is with there is a particular subset of people that want OpenStack. Uh, what's the word I want to use? Skill sets
Yes.
that pay a particular price for those skill sets.
Yes. Okay.
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 All right. And when you're looking at that from that perspective, and you start just going on Indeed, typing in OpenStack, look up the Open Infrastructure Conference. I talked about it last week. They just did. I don't know if the CTO advisor went there, but I know we have one lady in the group, Trivia Williams. She used to work at the Linux Academy, and she was the one that was creating the course content for all the OpenStack classes.
Okay.
And she actually spoke at the conference, and the conference was in Berlin. And
Oh,
so, yeah, so
I'm saying-
now you start to see how wide OpenStack skill sets are, where people are at, who's using OpenStack. A lot of the telcos use OpenStack. When I say telcos, your Verizons, your Ericssons, those places, they're using OpenStack. And a lot of people go ahead and put OpenShift on top of that, right? And then OpenShift gets into Kubernetes, but OpenShift is also another open source project as well too. So when
okay.
you start looking at these things, and putting them together, that set of skill sets leads to a certain price. Let's
Yeah.
say.
I know yourself and D, y'all just like, look, don't get stuck on that $100,000 because that's all. If you asking $100,000,
That's
oh, they
what you're gonna
pay
get.
you $100,000 when you
Right,
could have been upward
right, right. But
150, 200, 250, 300.
yeah, and I just did a repost on a job on my LinkedIn from X4 Technologies. They were looking for somebody, I think for 325 it was. It was on my feed. While we're talking, let me pull up the job that the lady sent over to me yesterday, and I told her I would talk about it, but your perfect timing for me to discuss it right now. Let me pull it up right here. Let me pull this out right here. She sent over some stuff last night. But let me pull out the original thing that she sent over. And then we'll go from there. All right. So let me pull this up real quick, and then we'll talk about it, right? Let me go over here. Let me see my screen so I can see people. And we'll talk about it. All right. All right, D, if you share my screen, that'd be cool. Let me see where my mouse is at. All right. I don't know if I can blow this up any bigger. Let me look. Yeah, here we go. All right. They are looking for, and this I know everybody don't have clearances, but we talked about this too, about clearances having the ability to be recession proof, right? Where people can get you can have people sponsor clearances. So what companies out there sponsor? Usually I see your General Dynamics, your SAICs, sometimes Lados. They actually sponsor clearances. You're on mute. I can't hear you, right? What'd you say?
Raytheon, I'm not sure if they sponsor.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't seen Raytheon be so giving with sponsoring clearance. They might. It depends on the job, right? It depends on the job. Um, CACI hadn't seen them be giving either, but I know for a fact General Dynamics they be looking for people, and I'm also looking for people. We're also sponsoring clearances here, but you just got to be in Colorado. But the job pays well, but whatever. All right, so let's go. All right, so this job, they're giving a sign-on bonus of 15,000. Of course, sign-on bonuses are negotiable, so you can always probably ask for more on that. This company name is with DSA. Um, and here they're looking for a cloud operations administrator. What skill sets do you need? I'm gonna say these things, and you guys are gonna be like, Tamika, keep telling us the same thing over and over again. All right, how to secure IT architecture, hardware and software, so that's security. Experience with Red Hat Linux. Oh, there it is again. And experience with Amazon. Oh, there's a cloud. Experience with Dockers and Kubernetes. There it is again. And then experience with GitLab and Terraform, and some experience with some type of scripting languages or understanding of automation. And look, notice what they put in here: Bash and Ansible and Puppet, right? That Bash, Ansible, and Puppet, or just Bash and Ansible gets you far. But all of these are the very same skills that I talk about that y'all need to have as a baseline. And these baseline set of skills get you to where you need to be. Because it is a government contract, they do require Security Plus. What was special about this job? Well, what was special about this job? They automatically do a 20% match. So whatever you put in, they're gonna match it 20%, right? They're gonna match it 20%. Sometimes Booz Allen does sponsor clearances, but again, it's finding the company that's gonna sponsor your clearance. So how do you get in the face of somebody so that they can sponsor your clearance, so you can go make this money, so you're not at the 50,000? Is getting the skill sets, getting the skill sets to say, hey, I got these things. You need me, but I need for you to sponsor this. This is to me where the certifications really come into play. This is where the certifications come into play. I have these certs. I've done this work. Now I need for you to sponsor me on this. Oh, okay. Well, we'll sponsor this because you already have this skill set. You've already done that work. I don't have to sponsor you and pay for you to go get the skill sets. That's where I think the certifications really play a part, in my own opinion. Some other people may think differently, but that's my opinion. Shahid, you ready?
Yeah,
You back? All right.
yeah,
What
I'm
you
back.
have?
Yeah, I was basically saying when it come down to the life insurance, you're right. I mean, a lot of guys talk about, where the money's going for their kids, but they don't put things in the process or in play for their kids. I mean, I'm married. Say the least, I'm not getting no divorce no time soon, hopefully, knocking on wood and all that stuff. But when it come down to it, I got life insurance for my kids. I got universal life insurance for them. And, that's why I was actually saying the dude, Alonzo Hall, he's on YouTube. I got it through him because we were having a conversation. I already have 3 policies for myself. That's why I was saying, to me, I'm worth more dead than alive when it
Right,
comes from my family.
right,
They gonna benefit well off, and I'm actually getting 1 or 2 more policies too. So
right.
when it comes down to it, I want to make sure that, if my wife don't want to get married, because that was the thing back in the day. Most of the women, they had to end up getting married to a guy to actually maintain family life, because we always say that, the man is the leader and the provider. So
Mm-hmm,
if the provider leaves, then who's going to be the protector over the family? So
mm-hmm.
that's why I'm making it to where if my wife don't want to get married, or if she do, it's on her. But to the point, having that trust and everything set up to where everything's being taken care of. Like with Chadwick, he spent like $900,000 just for the probate court. And I'm like, that could have easily been prevented if he would have just did the necessary arrangements, not even of having a trust or a will, just putting it in a life insurance policy and making the beneficiary for that person. I mean,
Right.
personally, with me, with his wife, I think she should have got all the money versus the family. If anything, they should have got some money from her.
No, I think didn't she choose to split that up with the family? I think it was noble for her
Okay.
to choose to split that up. Like she could have kept it, but I think she chose to split that up with the family, right? And that's noble. I think that's just a human factor there, right? Yeah, she could have kept it. Like she could have did like like Lou Rawls' wife did to his kids. She called, she's like, and she cussed him out. She said, "You Negroes don't get nothing. And I'm not giving you nothing. It's all left to me." But he didn't do what he was supposed to do as a father to make sure that his kids had something. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. So again, when we talk about trust and estates and stuff, this is another thing that I talk about is, what does that look like? You get up and you go to work every day, and you don't even have anything set up for the ones that you care about in your immediate pool. But here's the other part of that: you don't have enough money that you make in order to do it.
That's also true.
Right. So that's what I'm aiming for. Like, we could talk about all these controversial things, these, the baby mama, should you have slept with her? She already had 3 kids and she was already on welfare. That's another topic. Or right, or should you humans, man and woman, do what it takes to protect yourselves and protect your families, right? When we talk, and quality of life is so super important. Like, I had sent D the video about the lady. Well, no, D sent me the video about the lady who was at the hospital and she just had her baby, but the nurse said that every time she walked in the room, the lady was hitting her head, and so she pulled a psych valve on her. But the lady had weave, and that's how she was scratching her head. But they was calling an eval on her. But now here's the thing: like, representation matters, right? Your representation matters. Like I did the show about the lady and her brain leaking, right, and so forth. Like, and these are the things that I talk about with you all as well too. For as men, your health. Like I say, I don't think the average age that black men are dying is 64. I think the average age is 56, 57. That's my own personal take. That's what I've seen. So now the question is, what is it that you're doing, and what is it that you have in place, and what is it that you need to have in place, so that if something do happen to you at 56 or 57, are you protected? Are you setting yourself up for a healthy life, not just a wealthy life, but a healthy life?
Yeah. I mean, I have that also in my policy to where if I do have something like event what Chadwick had, that I can take up to 75% of that life insurance policy out and use it. Say like cancer or something detrimental, that knowing the process I might die, I can pull that money out and use it to benefit me now, and the family still has some money left in there. Because like I said, I got 3 policies,
Right.
and
Now the other question is, even if you take that, let's say you take out 75,000, is it beholden to taxes? Is there a tax? That's something you might want to go back and ask.
yeah.
Is the government going to take part of that as on a tax? So instead of you getting 75, you're actually getting 40.
Well, considering with the life insurance, it's more like a loan status to
Okay.
the like. Okay, say like your 401k,
You're
you
doing
can
whole,
borrow.
yeah, you're doing whole life. That's fine.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. I don't do term. Well,
Oh,
I actually have a term, but that's when I first started. That was one of the first policies I had.
mhm.
And then once I got in the door, I got a whole life. Then I seen that universal life was better, and the percentage that I get is like 7% with Lincoln Financial, and it's in the index fund, so it's even better. It's going to
Right.
be
So
increasing.
make money while you sleep.
Exactly.
Right.
So, the more I learn more about it, that's why I was telling you about the guy Alonzo. I deal with him,
I know he
and
is. He in the
yeah,
deep
and through the
board.
policies,
Yeah.
yeah, and through policies, that's why I pretty much try to benefit myself. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jump off of here. I got
That's
my little work, get ready to
that's
do some more work.
that's all
But I'll
right.
holler at you.
We appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. But this goes back to what I was saying before with everybody. Like, I'm not trying to tell you um to that 100,000 isn't none. What I'm saying is, it doesn't allow you to do the things that you want to do, that you need to be doing, as far as like estate planning, investing into real estate, growing accumulating your wealth, right? Wealth accumulation is very, very, very important. The 4 steps to wealth, to wealth, right? And wealth accumulation, wealth preservation are just one of those things. That's why I talk about buying businesses and how to buy a data center, setting up investment groups. What does it mean to have a private equity fund, and so forth and so on, right? What does all that look like? So, with all that being said, I did want to bring up this young lady here. Let me get my Let me get this over here. And this goes into what we talked about with I bonds.
In terms of
So I'm gonna back up here a little bit because she actually starts talking about some stuff. And this was from Bigger Pockets, and she is actually a money coach. I cannot vouch for her or any things of that nature. All I'm gonna say is, I when I talked about I bonds, I want to talk about I want to show you what some options are, and I bonds have came up a lot, right? And I talked about it last week, returning 9.62%. It changes every October, right? So you invest in now, you'll get your I bond APR of or return, I should say, not APR, but a return of 9.62%. Does that change? It's absolutely going to change. But I thought some of the things that she brought up in her conversation about what other things you can do with I bonds is another topic. So let's go. Hopefully, it picks
fire
up.
out. They're trying to, retire early, and they're trying to invest as aggressively as they can so they can check out of the workforce. So it is, of course, a lot of it is dependent upon what your specific goals are. But again, don't, be reluctant to kind of split it a little bit there.
So let me give you some background on this right here. A guy wrote into the show, and he said, "I got 1.5 million liquid in cash. I want to retire now. I'm 30 years old. How should I divide that money up?" So let me say this too as well. In coordinates, what she's saying. You have to think, if you're 30 years old and you have 1.5 million now, and you don't want to work, you want your money to work for you. What are you going to invest in? This goes back to what we had when we were talking about that $70,000. $70,000 and $1.5 million. Does your strategy change? What happens? What's going on? All right, so now let's really talk about it. He's 30 years old. He has 1.5 million. He's retiring now, but he may live for another 50 years. Can he live off of 1.5 million for 50 years? Right? So how do we have that money make money, and what do we what do we invest in for it to make money? And should he work a little longer? Right? What does that look like? Right? So she's answering that question is what you're hearing right now.
And to say, okay, I only have X amount, because none of us have an unlimited source of funds. Whatever the number is for you, and let's just use a round number. Let's say you have $1,000 a month to kind of work with. You might say, it's really super important for me to be debt free. I don't want to owe anybody anything. So, maybe you skew towards paying $600 or $700 out of that 1,000 towards debt elimination, and then you put 300 or 400 towards investing as a whole.
I like that. Come up with a plan. I think that is going to be incredibly helpful going forward. You can't just willy-nilly yourself to wealth. You have to have a plan in order to be able to move forward. Otherwise, you will just willy-nilly yourself. And I don't think anybody ever willy-nilly themselves to wealth. Okay, the next super hot topic in personal finance is I bonds. I don't know if you know this, but as of today, they pay 9.62%, which sounds fantastic. Ooh, I love a good 9.62% super safe return. But I think people don't understand all the rules around I bonds. So let's talk about those for a minute. What are your thoughts on the I bond, and let's just make sure that everybody knows all the rules involved in the I bonds.
Sure. So first off, obviously anybody who's a saver is thinking about yield and about ways to get more return on their cash. And, you go to a typical bank, even, digital banks and others, most times people are getting, under 1%. So the fact that you could get, at least through right now, through October 2022, 9.62% by buying these I bonds is hugely attractive, right? So first off, the first rule is the cap or the limit on how much an individual or an entity can buy, and that's $10,000. So if you're married, you can buy $10,000 individually, though, and your spouse can buy $10,000 worth of I bonds as well. You have to keep the money in there. You can't touch it for 1 year. And then later on, when you're actually trying to cash out, if you pull your money out early, you'll have to pay about 3 months worth of interest based on, kind of prevailing rates at the time for if you pull the money out early. So there's a little penalty involved on the back end if you stop early. But honestly, I think it's kind of negligible in the scheme of things. But one thing I really want to emphasize to the audience, because a lot of people go, okay, well, yeah, it's just $10,000. But think about all the ways in which you can purchase I bonds and make that $10,000 go up dramatically. So as I mentioned, your spouse can also buy $10,000 worth of I bonds. But if you have a business can also buy $10,000 worth of I bonds. If you have a trust, and I know a lot of your audience members do, they may have an LLC or a trust in various forms, either related to their real estate holdings or their personal assets, etc. The trust can also buy I bonds as well. So just kind of think about all of the entities that you might have or have access to, where you can be able to shovel a little bit of cash in there and get that really super safe, juicy return. And, I love something that's protected by the, full faith and credit of the US government. That's, that we can, despite everything that goes on in Washington, that we can feel pretty good about that, there's not gonna be a default on it. So I love I bonds.
You just said two things that I didn't know about before. You said I can buy, and I knew that. And you said my spouse can buy, and I knew that too. So that's $20,000. You said my business can buy, so that's $30,000. And my trust can buy, so that's $40,000 in I bonds that I and my husband could buy together. That's a lot more attractive than, and I feel like such an awful person for saying than just the $10,000. It isn't just $10,000. It is $10,000, but it's, I don't like it. I don't like my funds being tied up for a whole year, but $40,000 growing at 9% interest is a lot more attractive. I could, if there's going to be a bigger payout, tying it up for a year is I know it sounds counterproductive, but in my mind it works.
No, it's exactly how it should be, because think about it. The longer out you go, the more you need to be compensated for tying that money up, or for the risk that you're taking and the opportunity cost that's involved, because you could be doing something else with that money. So that's, and especially now, of course, if you're looking at what's happening in the stock market, it's like, woo, kind of getting, almost a guaranteed almost 10% for over the next, almost a year. That's a pretty attractive return on your money. That's for sure.
Yes, I'm not getting that in the stock market right now.
Is the return guaranteed? I'm going to get that for the next year, or can it change if the CPI changes in 6 months from now?
I'm gonna pause right there. This is what I want to say. You don't have to spend a minimum of $10,000. You can spend a minimum of $25 in order to buy an I bond. So you don't have to go in thinking like, oh, I got to go out and get $10,000 so I can go invest into an I bond. It's a minimum of $25. You can gift it to someone. You can give it to a child. I posted the link before with Treasury. It's treasurydirect.gov, I believe is the link. You have to set up an account first, and then you have to pick what you want, right? $25, whatever the case may be, right? However, you don't have to have $10,000. And if you leave it in there, it grows over time. So I've been doing research, and it's some people who have been investing in I bonds, and within a year or two, they're getting 12, 13, and 15% on a return on their I bonds. just a little safe bet. Like some people are not risk takers. You want to be conservative if you want to play it safe. I think I bonds is a play it safe. This is not financial advice. This is just research that I had came across. These are just things that I want people to know. Do your own research, find your own CPA, find your own estate planner. I'm just giving you something as an option if you want to start doing investing and you don't trust the stock market right now. Say every month you put $25 into an I bond and you buy $25 worth of I bonds every single month. Again, it's 9.62 right now up until October of this year. It could possibly change where it may go down, it may possibly change, and it may go up. So again, go do your own research on what I bonds are, what happens with those I bonds, what determines the pricing or the yield of those I bonds, right? But again, I think you all have $25 to go buy an I bond and just look at it for a year. Like put $25 in there now and then wait till October and be like, well, what happened? Oh, I made a little something versus I had $25 sitting in the savings account and it did nothing, right? So we have to think, uh, you know, about these things. This is just all I'm saying. It is 9.62%. 9.62%. I shared this about our bonds before. 9.62%. So let's listen to the rest of the answer to this question that she gives back. Right. What's going on, Alonzo?
So yeah, they do. It does change. So that's why, like right now, the current 9.62% rate is in effect through October 2022.
Great. So I'm gonna earn a 9.62% through October on 6 months, and then it will change again. It could go down, or it could go up. CPI continues to remain really high.
And obviously, nobody has a crystal ball, but I mean, geez, look at how much inflation has been raging. We're seeing inflation at pretty much 40-year highs, right? And so I don't know if, too many people who are saying that, oh, we're going to go like totally the opposite direction and see like, this huge drop in this accelerated pricing that's been, in so many areas of everything. The price of everything is going up. Homes, cars, food, oil, just you name it. So I think when we start to look at CPI and some of these other measures, like, things absolutely change. But I feel like this is going to be an area where you're going to get juicy, healthy returns for some time to come.
One of the topics that we've been noodling on lately has been this concept of the perfect portfolio. Like, what is the perfect portfolio for someone? And it depends on your goals and that kind of stuff. But let's create a fictional scenario and say, if you're starting from scratch and you're handed 1.5 million, how would you design that portfolio, and why would you design it that way?
Pause. All right. So pause. Again, goes back to what we were saying before with estate planning and so forth and so on. How do you design your portfolio? How do you set up your estate? What is going into your estate? Just to recap, what can be in your estate, and we're talking about estate planning. We're not talking about prenups. We're not going to talk about prenups over here. You can do that if you want to, but we're looking for ironclad ways to protect your assets, whether you're a man or a woman, or you're a family, whether you are a single mother or you're a single father. What are ways to protect your assets, not from just other people, but from the federal government? How do you protect yourself? What are we investing in? Again, this is still tech, stocks, and jobs. I do want to relate that. However, we've been talking about wealth building over here. For those that are new, I wonder what we're discussing. This is what we're discussing. We're talking about ways to protect yourself. Like, you gain you make this money, you gain assets, but you're not doing anything to protect them. We saw Rob List earlier, right? With the lady, she went in with a prenup, right? She went in with a prenup, her and her husband. But because she didn't cover under that prenup, I forget what the phrase he used, but the Medicare phrase, right? She's responsible. She's on the hook. And she's on the hook and she has more than $128,000 in assets and that she's protecting. So she's on the hook as well too. So again, when you all are talking about, people like to say marriage is about love and this, that, and other, it's a contract. However we want to look at that, right? It's a contract, and you can call it a contract of love, you can call it a contract of money, you can call it whatever you want to, right? But I don't care what you call it. I call it you need to have protection. I see your comment there, Alonzo. It says, but yeah, the budget needs to. Yep, 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 yep. Um, Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. But I just want people to understand that you have a duty to yourself. You have a duty to yourself to protect your assets. You have a duty to yourself to protect the hard work that you get up and go in and put 40, 50, 60 hours driving, putting 10 hours in. uh, you have a duty to yourself to protect those things that you have acquired. You know, I don't want you to be on the internet talking about give me back my stuff. Like, no, I don't want you to be there doing that, right? All right. So again, just to recap, and then we'll get back to what she said, and we'll go from there, right? All right. So again, what is a we're talking about your estate planning portfolio. Estate planning portfolio. What is in that portfolio? This is what I'm saying, right? You know, you all have mining, you have farmlands, you have a business, you may have acquired, and let's be clear here, right? I'm talking about doing estate planning before you get married, right? If you have these assets. I'm also talking about estate planning for him before he gets married. And I'm also talking about estate planning after you get married, right? What does that look like? Because I hope that me and you get together and we're gonna build wealth together, right? I hope that we're not gonna sit there and just look at each other like, well, you got your money and I got my money. Well, that's it. Right. I hope we are looking to buy a set of hotels. I hope we're looking to buy a set of apartments. I hope we're looking to build our wealth together. I would think we would, but what does that look like? How do we build that, right? So what's included in that portfolio, again, just a recap. We talked about your marriage license, your divorce separation papers, military, so forth, listed advisors. I'm not going to go through everything like I did last time. Assets, real estate deeds, stocks, bond investment, cyber assets, your web pages, you all that are talking at conferences, your branding, your name, your trademarks, your patents, your businesses, your life insurance policies, your annuity contracts, your individual retirement accounts, right? Wills, trusts, letters of instructions, your medical history, your records, and so forth. And there was another one that had came up, that the guy that I was on his webpage, and one of the examples that he had given was a young man went out and the family gave him some money and he went and bought a $400,000 condo. The condo then got flooded because he left the bath water running. He left the bath water running and it trickled down to other people downstairs as well too, and it also ruined his condo. But what they were saying was in this particular article, because he didn't have it in a trust, he's on the hook for every single thing. Versus if he did have it in a trust, he wouldn't be on the hook for everything. And I wish I could bring up that article so you can get more clarification on what I'm talking about. Oh, it's back. He back. Somebody rebooted. Somebody must have been listening to me. Somebody must have been listening to me. We back. All right, we're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish this, and then we'll get back to. I'll pull up the articles that the guy had D, might as well, I guess we might as well cancel the next show because we don't think we're gonna make it. You might as well come on up on this show because I don't think we're gonna make it. I'll just run it all here on one show. Unless y'all want me to stop. Let's give a vote. Like if you want me to continue, I can continue. But if you want me to stop, I can stop. So put a 2 in the chat for me to stop. Put a D said let's break this week. D's like let's break this week. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. Oh, we're getting breaks. Let's see. If the I bond is put in someone's name without a prenup, would it only be designated to the individual's name? What do you mean when you say that? See, if the I bond is put in someone's name without a prenup, okay, would it be designated to the individual's name? I mean, if you when you buy the I bond, it's going to be put in someone's name. I think what you're probably asking is, would somebody? Oh, you need a 45-minute break. Would someone have? Could someone get the actual gains from that I bond? I think that may be what you're asking. And then you correct me if I'm wrong. That's right, Engineer Kansas and Donald Watts with me. Team no break. We don't take breaks over here. We take breaks. Tony B, I thought you was gonna be a ride or die. You turned on me, Tony. You turned on me. You turned on me, Tony. You turned on me. All right, let's finish this off. All right. I'll finish this off. I won't talk about, oh boy, I won't talk about the stuff I had found. This website is back. I was excited, man. I was going to go in. Oh, I was all ready for it and everything. You don't want me to be great today. You don't want me to be great. Let me give you let me give you a sample. Let me give you a sample. Just let me give you a sample. Let me give you a sample. 3 reasons why transferring ownership of your home to your child is a bad idea. I was going to talk about that. Let me show you this one. Now that it's up. 3 reasons why singles without kids need an estate. 3 reasons. Right? I had so much to go. The other one was 4 reasons estate planning is essential for business owners. Here's the other one too that I think a lot of people with kids in the audience should be aware of too. Protect your children's inheritance with a lifetime asset protection trust. Oh, I'm not going to sleep up there. I still got another show. And we were supposed to do Binary Hustlers last week. Oh, we still got to do that. I'm up. I'm ready. When it's up, then it's up. I'm up. I'm up. I'm up. Send me the links. I do it on my podcast. All right, hold on. Let's finish this. Let's finish the one with the 1.5 million. What would you do with it? Drop in the chat. What would you do with 1.5 million? And you remember now, you got to live for 50 years. So this money got to work for 50 years because he's 30, right? So let's keep it at your age, whatever age you're at. What are you going to do with 1.5 million, right? And you'll retire. All right, so let's go.
So, I mean, I hate to sound like a financial advisor or a CFP because I'm neither, I'm a financial educator, but probably they've indoctrinated me for so long, for 2+ decades. And I'm probably echoing some of the sentiment here, but it depends. I mean, so who are we talking about? Are we talking about a Gen Xer like myself? Are we talking about somebody who's a baby boomer? Are we talking about a millennial who's, 30 years old? Then, that portfolio.
Let's create a persona.
There we go. Thank you. Help me out here, Scott.
Bradley's 35. He's single. He he wants to become financially free. He makes about $110,000 a year, spends about $45,000 a year, would like to be financially independent, and thinks that 1.5 million might just get him over that barrier. How does he invest it for early retirement from that position?
Okay, so that's great. You said his name is Bradley. That's our fictional.
Bradley. Yep, Bradley is our fictional.
Okay, Bradley. I can work with Bradley. That's a great one. So, wow, Bradley's got a lot of advantages. First of all, no kids. Okay, so and making $110,000 a year, is good given nationally U.S. household income about 60,000 or so. And him wanting to target early retirement, let's say 50, 55 ish years old.
No, he wants to retire right now.
Well, early, what? Geez, okay. Let me reframe here. I'm sorry, the Gen Xer in me came out, and I forgot. Everybody wants to retire like yesterday. So yeah, so 15 years is like, oh my God, are you kidding me? That's like way too long. So just to be clear, are you saying that he actually has amassed and has an asset base of 1.5 million? How do we construct it?
He's got 1.5 million after tax sitting there in the bank account, needs to be allocated for a portfolio that will sustain financial freedom.
Okay, so all right, so you look at things like what his withdrawal rates might be and what some of his spending. You said he's going to be spending about $40-something thousand a year, so he can very easily and safely withdraw 4% and cover that, and not have a problem at all. I tend to, since he's quite young, I tend to go heavy on stocks, on the investing side, as well as, if he had an appetite for it, for real estate. I'm certainly super bullish on real estate, and I know, of course, a lot of your audience is as well.
All right, so I want to pause right there, and then we're gonna stop because I know y'all need a break. Oh, okay. So really, what I wanted to say here is real estate. What does real estate look like? That's really what I wanted to talk about. What does that look like? That could be land, that could be rentals, that could be Airbnb. And as Airbnb said, no more parties at their Airbnbs, right? So I don't know what that means for the luxury people. They have the big luxury $1.2 million houses. I guess you could still rent those out to families, but I don't know. But anyway, Airbnbs, mobile homes, land. There is also apartments. You can get a commercial, start doing duplexes. There's also Airbnb arbitrage, right? Buying small buildings as well. When I talk about small building, like small apartments, like maybe that you got 10 tenants in a building or something of that nature. All right. No, Airbnb came out and said no parties, I think across the board and none of their units. I think that's across the board. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's across the board. But again, what does real estate look like, right? What are you able to invest in, right? You got 1.5 million. It sounds like this person is still working at 110,000, but they need to set it up in a portfolio that's also income producing and also something they can set themselves up for retirement, right? I'm assuming that this person probably doesn't have a lot of debt, or if they did have a lot of debt, they should have paid off that debt already. But I'm assuming they don't have any debt. So that 110,000 is just money making money. It should be making money, right? Through whatever vehicle that they choose, right? I see you saying IUL again. Certain ones, let's say there's certain insurances or certain insurance companies don't require you to have a medical exam, and some do, right? So the other part of insurance is making sure that you can pass the medical exam, and then the other one is certain ones don't require that. It depends on who you go through. There's a ton of them out there. My best advice is do your research on that, right? And since you all are requiring a break, I guess I'll take a break. Are we taking a 30-minute break or we coming right back at 3:30? Are we coming right back at 3:30 for the next show? I just want to make sure I'm giving that right. 4 p.m. Okay, D say 4 p.m. She need an hour break. All right, y'all. Since y'all need a break, y'all don't want to hear me yap no more. I'll let y'all go right now. I'll let you go right now. Don't be pleasing me. Don't be pleasing me. All right, I guess we'll talk about skill sets and go into all these things on the next show. See y'all on the next show. I wanted to keep going. I wanted to have a party. Y'all acting like Airbnb. Don't have parties with Tam. All right, see y'all.